Hello and welcome to this episode of I'm Just Saying. I am your host, Toshiba Brooks Godwin, and my lovely co-host,
Takesha Pittman.
And today what are we talking about today, Keisha? It's kind of eluding my mind. I wanted to ask you about, Valentine's Day is coming up, so that's the big thing that's on the yeah, that's the big uprising. What kind of plans do you have?
None.
No plans.
Valentine's Day, I don't.
That
I have it
bad.
almost every day with my husband, so.
Oh my God. I bet, but still want something on Valentine's Day.
No.
We know love is in the air, but on Valentine's, and you don't want anything either. Well, I want
good.
something. As a
I'm
matter of fact,
good.
I tagged Jerry Godwin in that BTV Valentine's Day giveaway. So people don't get mad if I win. It was not rigged. I'm trying hard to get the room, the strawberries from
All of it.
Birdsong, and the what else was they giving away?
Okay, I'm gonna tag Butch in that then.
And a dinner at the Ash, the American Steakhouse here in downtown West Point. So I want all of that.
Okay, I can go with that. Yeah, I can go with that.
She don't want it, but
yes,
you heard her. She doesn't do Valentine's Day. So don't even worry about them this year. Don't even worry about tagging.
I'm gonna tag Amos Butch Pittman.
Tag him in that. That was
all of that.
When April was telling me about it, I was like, how can I get in on it? I mean, I know I'm on the ground floor, but I want to be able to get in the drawing. So guys, don't forget to like it and share it and tag some people in it. Tag some friends, some loved ones, somebody that may can win. Who knows? You may be that lucky winner. Jumping into the topic. What are we talking about today?
We're going to talk a little bit about the Me Too movement, a little bit about R. Kelly, just how we feel a little invisible or left out. So,
do we?
Sometimes and even if we don't feel it, it's being done.
Okay.
So we got to figure out a way. We got to talk about how other women feel about. Do you feel left out? Do you feel like the Me Too movement is not for you? Do you feel like your voice is not being heard? So.
Well, all right, and we'll get into that, I guess, when we come back. And we're back.
Welcome back to I'm Just Saying with Toshiba and Takesha. When we left off, we were talking about Sheba was getting excited about the age of consent in Georgia. She'll roll her eyes 50 times over here. But I'm gonna read up on it.
I always think it's 18 for everything.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no. See, that's why I think R. Kelly moved to Atlanta.
You don't speculate about Robert.
I'm just saying
about Robert's intentions. Now that's not fair.
Okay, you right.
R. Kelly, she already said he's number one on her list.
He's number one on my list of holding people. And he number two, being responsible for your actions.
I agree with that. Don't get me wrong. I agree with accountability from everybody involved, us as community, in the community, and the people that are doing it. And I think a lot of times you were saying, during the break, you wonder why we allow and accept. But I think too often we do go with what's lawful here. Like it doesn't matter if it's lawful.
It was morally.
Where's your moral compass? Yes, where's your moral compass? You should have some kind of morals and values that are not determined by the law, because we know anything is liable to be passed through the law. Doesn't make it right. You have to have a moral compass of what's right and what's wrong. Like you said, I don't care if she's 13 and she's walking around with nothing on, no clothes on, and enticing, and maybe even as a man, you shouldn't even be turned on by that.
Right.
You have to have some accountability.
And we focus a lot on what we teach our young girls, but a lot of times we don't focus on what we teach young boys that could become young adults, then they become young men, then they become grown men, they become adults. So I think we have to be, as a community, we have to be better. We just have to do better about what we tell them, not just stay away from that fast tail girl. That ain't enough. You need to explain things and why, how you can get in trouble, what can happen to you, the consequences of what happens to you, and not just, like you said, legally, morally, what happens to your center when you just go off the wrong path.
And more importantly, we have to talk to our young boys and girls about sex. And it's not a bad thing. We've tainted it so bad with our perversions.
Right.
But sex was created by God for us to procreate. And that's Okay, sex is intended for a husband and a wife. To be honest, and I know that sounds old-fashioned. Right. That doesn't mean that we should still plant the seeds so that they know. Yeah. Because when I was coming up, I can always remember my mama saying, you ain't old enough to be talking about that. You ain't old enough to be thinking about that. So what does that give me the perception of? When I reach a certain age, and who gets to decide what that is? I did, of course. I was ready.
But I can guarantee you somebody else was talking to you about it. Your friends, you having conversations.
Sex long before. I was never really, it was never really drilled in me.
Right.
That, it's not ugly, it's not a bad thing, but it's intended for a husband and a wife, and you can enjoy it. And I think that would try to get our young girls and boys too. I'm talking about really starting them up believing in those things. Yeah. We just make them feel like, oh, when you're old enough, it's okay to go out and just give your body away, give your temple away. It's okay to sleep. Not saying that they will listen, but we don't even plant the seed anymore.
Yeah, you got to start early, because that comes back to like being in a workplace, being in a situation where you don't feel, because it's something sexual, you don't feel comfortable saying anything about it.
Exactly.
That goes along with not talking to your kids about sex. Being in a workplace when somebody blatantly does something that they shouldn't be doing, and you don't feel comfortable telling it. You're in a high school with a teacher, PE coach, whatever, and you don't feel comfortable. That's because most of the time parents hadn't even talked to you about the good and the bad of sex.
Or what's acceptable
or what's acceptable and what's unacceptable. Absolutely. So I was looking at some statistics that I was looking at, and I was like, mind blown. Okay, 40 to 60% of black women report being subjected to coercive sexual contact by 18. So that means
they coerced you to do it.
I mean, at 18. Yeah. Oh, I can remember because you know. Look,
we ain't done it right. We're not going to go down there. We're not going to do tonight is tonight. But I can remember.
Yeah. Way back now. But for real. Yeah, I can blatantly remember most of the time my friends, include me too, but almost being, talked into.
Exactly.
Girl.
My first time.
Very first time.
I was coerced. Didn't really want to do it, but I felt
the pressure.
Obligated for some reason. I don't know. Like, okay, I said I was, or I gave you know what I'm saying? You know how girls are talking tease with guys, and I put myself in a situation that I really did not want to be in, and instead of me being comfortable saying, no, I don't want to do it, I went ahead. I mean, and it was horrible.
And you just think about that boy. Like, I'm not really being, I probably should read up on the pressure that the boy faced, but the wherewithal to not know, to say, okay, to even read the cues, she feel uncomfortable.
No, I said so he was happy.
He was he was.
Yes, but that's interesting. I do believe those statistics.
40 to 60,
I believe that.
40
I can totally see that.
So I was like,
it's a lot of women that
I need to talk to my because you just assume that they're going to tell you stuff I should know, because I didn't tell my mama everything.
Exactly.
But like, I know I probably didn't ask enough questions, and I just assumed whoever her friends were and who she was hanging with, they were nice people. So I didn't, and I thought about it, and I was thinking, well, my mama thought my friends were nice people.
Well, let me ask you this to kind of, and I want you to spit out some more statistics.
Okay.
I like her statistics. I always learn something when I'm talking with Keisha, but to kind of swerve our conversation back towards our topic, are we saying that we feel like black women were kind of left out of this?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But was it something that was self-inflicted, or do you think it was just, do we still want to say, because I feel like we blame society when we say, oh, when the white woman said, well, sometimes did you say it? Because we're really saying,
and you know the thing about it, who has the power to do something about it? So if you don't see me, if I'm a black woman and you don't see me and you don't hear me, and you have the power to do something about what I'm telling you, it's like, who has the power?
Well, we know who has the power.
Okay then, so if that person, if they have the power, and statistics show that most times black women They write a report. They go to the release station, put in a desk.
So you're saying they are speaking on it. They are reporting it, but it's like being done.
And then I can't even imagine the amount that go unreported. But the ones that have the nerve to report,
well, I don't really see them doing anything. But they locked Bill Cosby up. That's all I know.
Look, she's so.
I mean, who else did they really lock up? The Weinstein guy still running around here.
It's over.
Sexually assaulting people. Who did they lock up besides Bill? And he 90. He 90. He could have put on the ankle bracelet and sat at home.
It's over for Bill.
They didn't have
Jello pudding pop.
Well, I get mad about Bill for real.
She feels sorry for Bill.
But
Bill had a good life. Bill 70 years and did whatever he wanted to do. He done shimmy over here, shimmy over there.
But these other people are still out shimmying. Yeah. They should be in the cell. So if you're not gonna do that, then put Bill on his ankle bracelet.
But I think.
It's not coming.
Look how many years it took for Bill.
It's not coming. And you know what?
But Beverly Johnson reported in the 70s.
You know how many they gonna get?
How many?
How many years they might get? 12 months. Probably served now. On probation. They're not gonna get so I mean when we talk about these different disparages, even with race,
and I know I feel like because I feel like
good study and another brought me.
Yeah, but another thing I feel like about Bill is that I feel like I hold black men to a higher standard. I shouldn't, but I do because I feel like I expect more out of Bill. You're an educated black man.
I don't believe Bill drugged all the women. I don't believe it. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
I do.
I don't
with power, when they get that power, they really this right here don't even matter no more. They forget.
I don't believe Bill.
They forget. Bill thought he was hard.
I think they
like he saw what Harvey was doing, and he was like, "Oh, I probably can do that too." So I'm gonna try it.
See, you can't believe everything in the news. The news put the spin on anything they want. Listen to me. I'm free Bill.
See?
Free Bill.
Why you think he don't? I'm sorry, I had to ask. Why you think he don't?
Y'all like? Okay. I don't feel like I didn't see a whole lot of, and then I mean, really, the one that really turned me off, and we're gonna get off of this after that. But Janet Dickinson.
She crazy though. I mean,
she discredited all the other ones that came about for me.
I don't agree.
I don't believe he did. I don't believe he raped her, drugged her, any of those things.
I do.
I don't, and I don't believe he did it. And I'm not saying he's completely innocent.
Right.
I'm not saying that. But at the same time, I mean, if you look at the way that the culture was back in those days, them white women weren't scared of Bill. Bill would have been hung within a split second because he was still back in when it was. It was still very.
And he got in trouble and paid some money and hush hush. And that's why I have it because I think Bill.
If you took the money, you don't need to come back and say nothing years ago because you wasn't that hurt. If it really damaged you, then you know that no amount of money, and that's why R. Kelly really got away with it all of this time because families and parents and people were taking the money. If you took the money, you've been paid. You've been. It's over with.
Yeah.
It's over with. You don't have the right to come back 20 years later and they get his man some time behind some bull junk like that.
Peanut butter sandwich. But this is the way I feel about Bill. I got this thing about Bill. I got a complex. And I feel like he got a complex. I feel like he got that O.J. Simpson complex. Well, I made it. Now I'm finna tell all you Negroes how you need to act so you can make it too.
Well, Bill, pull up your clothes.
Now,
you right, Bill.
Now, Bill.
We talking the same thing. He was hard.
You want to be Hilma College, but you want to sexually start all these Caucasian women. So, Bill, you gotta make up your mind now. But he ain't want them. He ain't want them. He ain't want Camille. I'm sorry. I love you, Hilma College. Camille, he ain't want you. I'm just telling you. 70 women. He ain't want Camille. He ain't want Camille. Bill got
somebody tell her sex ain't got nothing to do with love and want.
He don't want Camille though.
Sex ain't got nothing to do with
Camille, his friend, his life partner. He don't want her like
that's the one he spent his life with.
He don't want her.
But you I want to talk. I want to get back to one.
Bill no more, y'all. Okay.
I want to get back to one thing that you brought out, the Georgetown law study, and I found it very interesting.
But it says 3 minutes before y'all get off.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Girlhood Interrupted. It was some very. I haven't read all the way through this, but I found some very interesting statistics
It was
in here.
heartbreaking to
And
me.
one article is entitled, and we're going to do a show about this, The Theory of Adultification of Black Children. And tell us what that means, Keisha.
The adultification of black children is how we grow black children up way earlier than we do anybody else.
Do we grow them up, or are they perceived to be older by society?
The perception is they're older.
By who do you think?
By
Honestly,
starting in school, white people, teachers, counselors, police officers, people on the street. Because the study they did was they just, in some parts of the study, they just showed pictures of kids, young girls. Most of this was girls. Black girl, white girl. White girls at 12, most white people perceive them to be 10 years old. 12-year-old black girl, most white people perceive them to be 14 years old. So I thought, so what is that? I hate to go back to slavery.
It's not a reliable source.
I hate to
in my Cardi B voice. It's not a reliable source. I don't think they can just use, because white people, and this is not a racial thing, but their judgment of black people.
But they make policy.
They do, but that's the bad thing about it.
That's why I said you can be a racist if you want to.
That's the bad thing about it.
I just don't want you to be in power.
Exactly.
Because your perception.
Which is why the governor of Virginia needs to resign.
Bye. Yeah. Goodbye.
You need to step down.
Holla.
We know it was in college, but you need to step down. Go ahead.
But
next show. That's the next show.
But the problem is, I think the reason they did is because the people that's making the policies in schools, jails,
I see that
everywhere,
all the time,
is based on their perception.
And to be honest with you, I really don't even think that they do it. No, they don't even realize how differently they view.
That's a problem.
Black children.
Oh, that's a problem.
I really don't think they realize it. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. I want to make sure that we stay with the focus of black women being silenced in this Me Too movement. I think Keisha and I came to the conclusion that we both agree that they are being kind of left out.
Pushed to the side.
But I feel like most of it is it's because of the way that it's kind of self-inflicted in most instances. Let me say that. I do believe that women report things, but I think we go silent more than not because we have been taught that. We've been taught to just suck it up and move on, and we don't want to deal with the hassle of the fight. You know that we know that's gonna come
with it.
Yes.
Right.
And I think that's our conclusion on that topic.
Right.
Okay. So we thank you for joining us today this edition of I'm Just Saying, just the tough talk with two tough women. See you the next time.